Imagine a world where honor is everything, where the lines between history and legend blur, and where a young warrior rises from obscurity to lead a kingdom into a golden age. His sword, a symbol of destiny. His counsel, a brotherhood of chivalry. His name, King Arthur. But what if the Arthur we think we know is only a shadow of a much deeper truth? A truth born in the blood and battles of post-Roman Britain and whispered through centuries of myth and mystery. Join us on a journey into the legend behind the legend. A story of warriors and kings, betrayal and honor, magic and reality. This is the tale of King Arthur like you've never heard it before. The story of King Arthur is one of the most enduring legends of all time. A tale of chivalry, heroism, and timeless romance that has captured the imaginations of poets, historians, and storytellers for centuries. But what keeps drawing us back to this enigmatic figure? Why does his legend persist when so many others have faded into obscurity? To answer that, we must journey back to a time when the Roman Empire had just fallen, and Britain was a land plunged into chaos and uncertainty. The earliest glimpses of a figure like Arthur come from the 6th century, in a time of fierce battles between the Britons and invading Saxons. The monk Gildas, one of the few chroniclers of this dark and dangerous era, speaks of a great victory at Mount Badon, but he names no hero. The shadowy figure of Arthur emerges later in the 9th century's Historia Brittonum by Nennius. Here we meet Arthur not as a king, but as a dux bellorum, a warlord leading his men into 12 great battles. Was he real? Or was he a figure crafted from the echoes of many warriors, an ideal to rally behind in times of despair? By the 12th century, Arthur's legend had grown far beyond Britain's borders. Geoffrey of Monmouth's Historia Regum Britannia transformed him into the king we now recognize, noble, commanding, and the embodiment of knightly virtue. This Arthur is no longer a shadowy warrior, but a sovereign of destiny, uniting the land with his mighty sword and the wisdom of his wizard, Merlin. But even as Geoffrey's tale spread across medieval Europe, it was the French poet Chrétien de Troyes who gave us the romance, the courtly love, and the chivalric code that define much of Arthurian legend today. Knights of the Round Table, the tragic betrayal of Lancelot and Guinevere, the quest for the Holy Grail. In Chrétien's hands, Arthur's court became a mirror of the ideals and struggles of medieval Europe. Yet, there was always more to Arthur than the chivalry and grandeur. His roots reach deep into the folklore of early Britain. In Welsh tales, he is a warrior figure, often arrogant and flawed. The Mabinogion presents him not as a shining monarch, but as a man of strength and cunning, a protector of his people in a time when giants and magical creatures still roamed the land. It is this duality, both man and myth, that gives Arthur his timeless appeal. As centuries passed, the legend of Arthur evolved again. In the 19th century, Romanticism revived his image, stripping away the politics and focusing instead on the ideals he represented. Poets like Alfred, Lord Tennyson, reimagined him as a symbol of noble virtue, even as Britain itself stood on the cusp of a new imperial age. By the mid-20th century, T.H. White's The Once and Future King reinvented Arthur once more, this time as a tragic figure, doomed to witness the destruction of his dreams by the very ideals he sought to uphold. White's Arthur is a king who dreams of a better world, a world of justice and peace, only to watch it fall apart under the weight of human frailty. But why, even now, do we keep returning to the story of King Arthur? Perhaps because his legend offers something we long for, something beyond swords and battles, beyond crowns and kingdoms. His tale reminds us of the enduring power of moral integrity, loyalty, and courage. It reassures us that, even in times of darkness, these virtues matter. The stories of Arthur's fellowship, the Round Table Knights, have always been about more than valor. They are about defending the weak, upholding justice, and staying true to one's word. Even when the odds are overwhelming, even when defeat seems inevitable, doing the right thing remains a victory of its own. In our modern age of shifting values and fractured loyalties, is it any wonder that Arthur's legend feels more relevant than ever? We crave heroes who stand for something unshakable, who lead not through force, but through vision and virtue. So, is King Arthur merely a legend, or was there a real man beneath the myth? As we uncover more from history and archaeology, we inch closer to answers. But the full truth remains tantalizingly just out of reach. And perhaps that's what makes his story so powerful, the mystery itself. If you've been captivated by the tale of Britain's greatest king, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more legendary stories that blend history with myth. Tell us in the comments, what do you think lies behind the legend of King Arthur? Until next time, remember, history is full of stories waiting to be rediscovered.